Welcome to Simon's Trading Channel. Bitcoin, Bitcoin is breaking its nails on the wall that is its path towards six figures. Will it get there? Who knows? Probably. But yeah, good for you, Bitcoin. Go for it. Now, thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you've enjoyed all the previous ones. I wasn't going to share this with you until it became a bit more relevant with regards to how I think about the top of this current bull run. Now, this is basically the entire history of Bitcoin on Bitstamp on a weekly time frame. So it's all squeezed in there. Obviously, it's a logarithmic scale because if you turn it into a normal scale, it's not as easy to look at. And down here, you're like, what's going on? It's too small, I can't see anything. So that is why the vast majority of people, when they look at Bitcoin, look on a logarithmic scale, such has been its growth. Do you have to use base 10 rather than base 1 to look at it? So yeah, so this is super simple. And what I'm about to tell you, I'm not suggesting you do, I'm sharing with you my own ideas. And I came up with this having been down rabbit holes for thousands of hours about the best way to trade or invest, literally thousands of hours looking at charts, particularly Bitcoin, over several years, trying to figure out the best way to make money out of it. And along the way, it got very complicated with numerous indicators and all sorts of craziness, maybe some shapes. Sorry about that. Maybe even some shapes and all this sort of stuff. And that was a great experience. But what I've ended up with is something very simple. And it's probably because I'm a simple person and I want to sleep well at night. I don't want to be worrying about super technical trade strategy that's very complicated and lots of choppy signals. I just don't want that. So when it comes to the higher time frame investments, this is what I do. Again, I'm not suggesting you do it. You should figure out your own. But this is so simple. So you can see I've got a GAN high low, which is basically an interpretation of a simple moving average. But I think it's a more useful version. And I've set it to 26 because it's a weekly time frame. So I just thought stick it at 6 months. Seems to make sense. And as you can see, by some kind of magic, it manages to stay on the right side of the price all the way up and then avoid most of the downside, and then be on the right side of the price all the way up and avoid most of the downside. This was a bit messy because it was COVID, so it didn't really play out probably as people expected in such a neat manner. But again, for the rest of that bull run, kept the right side of the price, and then the double tops. And because clearly something to do with Chinese mining bans and all sorts of stuff, this again was a little bit messy, but it's still with the bear market of 2022 effectively kept the price on the right side. And then from the point of view of this last bull run, it's kept the price on the right side on one occasion, two occasions, and then this looks like the third occasion, which will probably be, in my humble opinion, the last part of this bull run. When that occurs, I don't know. But the point I'm making is that right now, the GAN high low is down at 62,000. But over time, obviously, unless Bitcoin crashed from where it is now, trying to stand this to get to six figures, unless next week it crashed all the way back down to 61, this will gradually move its way up as price, indeed, even if price went sideways. So then when I see price closed back below the Gann high low on a weekly time frame, and it's only a weekly time frame, then I'll be getting out of my long-term Bitcoin investments, and I'll be waiting for the next buy signal to occur, which I'm guessing will be it's likely that 2026 is a bear market. So I'd say it's likely to be at the end of 2026 or beginning of 2027, something like that. But, those sorts of predictions are armed with paper they're written on. So treat that with a bucket of salt. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. And the reason I've done it now is that I'm going to see how things pan out. So this is my strategy. Go find your own. Joking. But historically, it certainly worked very well. That's no promise that it will continue to work well in the future. However, I think that's a fairly simple and sleep easy at night way of thinking about price action. Okay, so that'll do. Spent a bit longer than I intended to going through that, to be honest. I'll just switch to my asset assessment tools and come down to the daily time frame, and you can see, do I need the RSI on? The RSI is slightly interesting in a way from the point of view of, so this move that's occurring now, which you can see is basically continued volatile, a continued volatile move to the upside on the daily time frame. Wow, that was hard to say. The RSI to not print bearish divergence whenever this gets a top, which I think might be about 105k, but I don't know. So whenever the price reaches a top here on the daily time frame, if the RSI, which you'll be able to see if I do this a bit more clearly, if the RSI doesn't get back above here, and then price turns back down from wherever it hits its high, then there'll be bearish divergence on the daily time frame. So, could be significant and beget a sizable pullback. I think I'll leave it like that for now and then just get rid of the RSI and focus on the other two. So you can see here, Bollinger Band's expanding again, pretty much from yesterday's closure, and then today's being the main impulsive move, and you'll see that on the 4-hour time frame. And you can see that, wow, having made a decent move today, the pivot point for momentum is quite far away from price action, about $5,000 away from price action. So yeah, momentum to the upside is very strong on the daily time frame. That's right. It's strong with the daily time frame. It's kind of pseudo Star Wars reference there. I'm not sure it worked really. Now, the 4-hour. So you can see I was a bit lackluster about this 4-hour, to be honest, until, the early hours of today. Wednesday, I thought was a bit nonplussed. Like it did close above the previous all-time high at that point. But then there'd been a weekly range. So it's only really today that a significant move has occurred. And yeah, good for you, Bitcoin. You deserve 6 figures. Everyone knows you do after all the flack you've had in the last few years from all the naysayers in all parts of society. Excuse me. From the point of view of momentum, 4-hour chart, it's not as big a buffer. So 97 for 4-hour closures. It's a fair way away from price action. And wow, so will Bitcoin hit 100k today? Should I just, should I ask that yes or no? I'm going to say no, but I think it probably will tomorrow. That's completely meaningless. But there you go. Yeah, so it's significant with regards to the Bollinger Band because if you're not using an indicator, don't have it on the chart. It's one thing I found out over the years. The significance about this is that basically since kind of here really, which was Wednesday afternoon, there's been some expansion in volatility, and like I referred, or as I referred to over here, when that volatility expansion occurs, if the price is above the midpoint of the Bollinger Band, the move is more likely to be to the upside, which indeed it turned out to be. So that's good. I think I'll leave it at that for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like and subscribe, and share it with your friends or anyone you think would find it useful, entertaining, or a good way to pass a few minutes. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow for Friday when CME will be closing. Will it be closing a six-figure Bitcoin? We'll find out.